lateness of the meeting. We just realized that one of our members, Commissioner Janine Davis, has tested positive for COVID, so we were waiting for her, not realizing that, so our apologies. But we will get started. Ms. Harrison, did anyone sign up for public comments? No one did, so we'll go to the next item on the agenda. Mr. Roberts, lead us into the certification of the October 7 U.S. House of Representatives District 7 special primary election.
Members, in your packet, there are 3 documents, a summary and 2 copies of the actual certification documents that you might want to refer to. First, let's quickly go over the provisionals, just so that you have a feel for the ballots that were added to the numbers after election night. We had a grand total of 39 provisionals, and of those, 15 were accepted. The most common problem was that the poll workers could not find the voter in the poll book, and as a result, did a provisional. We were able to find the voter when it came back to us. So that was 47% of the 15 that counted. Of the rejected provisional ballots, 50% of those were for the voter not being registered at all. We had a total of 24 that were rejected, and 12 of those were not registered. So that gives you kind of a broad overview of the provisional documents. Any questions concerning the numbers associated with the certification?
All right, seeing none, I will we'll take up each of these separately. Republican and Democratic primary results. I will entertain a motion for the certification of the results from the special Republican primary election.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. It's unanimous. All right, I will now entertain a motion for the certification of the results for the special Democratic primary election. Do I have a motion?
Sure, I'll move to approve the primary results for the Democratic primary election.
All right,
I second.
and we got a second. Any questions,
No,
comments?
but I will say, Commissioner Davis, who ended up sick with COVID, I think our original discussions were that the 13th were certification, and we've kind of added the other stuff from the 15th to today. But she is listening online, just so you know. She's not able to participate by Zoom. She'd have to be here in person. But she does want everyone to know that she's listening in and going to watch everything that's going on today, so she's up to speed for the next one. And, of course, we don't do proxies and all that here, but she is in on the link and unfortunately can't do it by Zoom just because that's how we operate. So.
Very good. Thanks for that clarification and information. I figured that as much. Okay, we've got a motion and a second. And so I'll see no questions or discussions on the results. All those in favor of certifying the Democratic primary results as provided to us indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. And the ayes have it. Very good. We'll go to the next agenda item. Davidson County Administrative Elections Search. After we had a number of interviews on October 3rd, there was some questions about bringing back one of our interviewees for some additional questions and comments and discussions. So I see Mr. Richardson is with us via WebEx. Very good. Welcome, sir.
Afternoon, guys. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thanks so much. All right. Well, very good. So with that, we did last time, Mr. Richardson, if you want to say a minute or two, opening remarks, and then we'll open up this for some additional questions that the commission may have.
Sure. Well, again, thank you for the opportunity to connect with you guys today, and I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation.
Very good. Thanks so much. All right, so are there any questions? Richardson. Mr. Bird.
So, Mr. Roberts, coming back, I was thinking about Jeff Roberts. And you do have some parallels to Jeff Roberts. We'll talk about a little bit in a minute. But Mr. Richardson, one thing we want to make a part of the record is you have sent us some follow-up information. Is that right?
That is correct. I have submitted my resignation to the Tennessee Republican Party Executive Committee effective Monday, which was, I guess it was the Monday after we got last. So I guess that was on the whatever day that was. And then in addition, I sent in, I think, 5 or 6 letters of recommendation, which were dear friends of mine from the Democratic Party who can vouch for my character and vouch that I'm John and I'm unbiased and how I live my life. And though I'm involved in politics, at the end of the day, I can make decisions based upon what I believe to be wrong, or in the case of the AOC, what the law is. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And I saw all the additional information. As I understand, you filed a resignation from the Executive Committee of the Republican Party on October 5th. Does that sound right?
That is correct. It's on a Monday. It was the Monday after our meeting on that Friday.
And I assume that means that became effective immediately.
Correct. That's a done deal. It is what it is.
Can you tell the folks here who were watching sort of why you thought that was important to do?
First, I didn't think much about my association with the executive committee prior to applying, but upon going through the process last Friday and having a conversation with y'all, I realized that would be a potential, that's a conflict of interest, to be a member of a party and to be perceived as somebody being unbiased. And so at the end of the day, I want to make sure that I'm doing what's in the best interest of the citizens of Nashville and making sure they understand that my job is to obey the laws of the great state of Tennessee and to adjudicate them and to let political persuasion get in the way of such. So I decided that, look, that's an issue and it needs to be removed. And so I basically wrote the letter, submitted to Chairman Golden. I did call him and let him know that I am officially, had a brief conversation. He's like, well, you realize you know what this means? And I said, yes, sir. I'm like playing poker. I pushed all the chips in and I'm moving all in. And so it is what it is.
Well, number one, I appreciate you showing some commitment in doing that. You also sent some letters. I noticed one from a librarian at Hume Fogg, in high school, I believe, here in Nashville, as well as a former councilman, Bedney, and others. Is that
Correct.
right?
That is correct. Amanda Smithfield, I got to know her through being an officer of elections out at Bellevue Church of Christ. We quickly found we had that Hume Fogg connection and became fast friends. And then later on in life, me to help serve Hume Fogg with their 40th anniversary of being an academic magnet school. I was very pivotal. I didn't share this with you guys the other, but very active in that process of helping bring alumni from all over the nation. I think in total we had 250, 300 folks show up and have a career day. We raised money to support the school. And Fabian, I met him years ago, and he's been a friend ever since. Now, granted, politically, we always don't see eye to eye, but that's okay. Still a friend. And, when I called him up for this position, without hesitating, he was like, John, you would be perfect. Of course, I'll write a letter of recommendation. And the letter that was submitted was, like I said, from his heart.
I appreciate that too, and I appreciate extra information. I will say that high school information is interesting. I have my own young private investigator at Hume Fogg who vouches for the librarian there, so that's very good. The high school information is important, and as if you end up getting this job, you will understand that there is a statutory requirement. I had Mr. Roberts remind me of where it was. 2111. that requires us to go into each and every high school to register voters. And so one question I have for you, I have a list of a few questions, but one of them is, of course, that's the law and we do that, but you understand that Nashville voters are here potentially Republican, Democrat, and Independent, and they want to know how committed you are to the law, to elections, to make sure everybody gets to vote, who has a right to vote. And so can you explain a little bit about your commitment to making sure that the registration rolls, and that we try to do everything we can to make sure that every eligible voter not only is registered, but, you know, to vote. We've just seen our election poll did a great job, I think, in this election. We have a few issues that happened, but we keep track of it and record of it. There's a few, maybe 3 or 4 that where there was a poll worker error, we fixed it, and I'm sure we'll follow up with it. And so can you tell the people who are watching your commitment to making sure about voter registration rolls increase, and that we do our job there, and that we make sure eligible voters can vote?
Sure. I think you said it best, but at the end of the day, as an American, I have inalienable rights, which means they are, as an American, I have these rights, which are, they come from my creator, and through the Constitution, I'm able to exercise those rights, and one of which is to vote. And I believe that every person, regardless of their political persuasion, should be able to participate in the process. And by doing so, they're able to have their voice be heard. I believe in a representative. I believe that the United States is a constitutional representative democracy, where we have people represented at the state as well as federal level, and we know how to govern ourselves through the Constitution, and it's through the Constitution and through the laws we're able to understand how to basically go through the election process. I don't know if I answered all your questions, but at the end of the day,
I think so, and I think you are certainly committed to voter registration as we're required to do by statute.
Sure.
You know, I guess one other question that I've received from people that are looking on over the past couple weeks and seen some of the type of folks, candidates that we interviewed. You know, you understand, you grew up here, so you understand Nashville has always been a very Democratic leaning voting population, right?
Sure.
And you also have seen that the way that the congressional redistricting maps have drawn, we no longer have a member of Congress that's a Democrat in Congress, and it's been divided into 3 areas. You're aware of that, right?
Where that Davidson County is divided into 3 congressional districts, yes.
And it certainly would have, I'd say, the 70-30 vote or whatever the split typically is here in Nashville. There's a lot of voters, Democratic voters in particular, wondering, why would a Republican want this job? It's a Democratic leaning county. It's a Democratic, super majority. Why would a Republican want to come in and foresee that vote? And I don't,
Sure.
You could probably say a lot of things to that, but that's a question I've gotten from people that want to know, why is that? Why would that happen?
Well, first and foremost, I know that the world we live in these days likes to put labels on people and likes to put people in a box. And I don't. I like to live above that, and where you truly judge a person by the character that the way they live their lives, by the as Martin Luther King would say, the content of their character, not based upon my preconceived notion of a person or what box I put them in. With that being said, I feel like my faith guides me in all that I do, and also I feel like being an American, being a citizen, is much more important than political party or whatever hat. So I don't perceive myself, even though, yes, if you look at it's clearly that I voted Republican for many, many years. In fact, you even pulled up my voting history in the last time, and you went back all the way back to the first time I voted. You noticed that in the past, I had before voting Republican. Because at the end of the day, I believe people are going to choose the best person that represents them. And I don't think there are some folks that go party ID, and that's great. But on the whole, I think people, especially in Nashville, they want smart government. They want people that represent them and represents their at a council level or a house level or at the federal level. You get the idea. So at the end of the day, I don't identify with one political party or another. I identify with being John Richardson, who, good or bad, is to have these worldviews, which is I just love people where they are. And if I can model kindness, if I can model trustworthiness, as an Eagle Scout, that's my job, is to live daily by the Scout oath and law, and not to get caught up in all this partisan politics, which, to be honest, has been divisive and polarizing over the years, and I'm just over it. I just want to get back to a place where folks can get back to being normal again and being kind to each other and just following the rules, if that makes sense.
It does, and I appreciate those comments. Let me just ask you a couple. Were you able to see some of the other interviews then after it was posted online from the other folks looking for the job?
Absolutely, and it was my wife and I watched it, and we really enjoyed the give and take banter between yourself and myself. That was fun.
Well, one of my quick questions that we don't need to spend long on, but I'd like to hear from you. I was concerned by some of the partisans that were brought forward. As you know, or may have read or saw, I certainly thought David Hamilton was the most qualified, as well as Jennifer Rasmussen Sagan. I didn't think, now excluding you, I thought the rest of the folks, frankly, I was very concerned about their partisanship. And that's why we're here with you to try to clarify that today. You know that what we do here in the Election Commission is we count votes and we count them accurately, right?
Correct.
And that's really one of our primary jobs. You agree that in 2024, for example, Donald Trump won the election here in Tennessee, right?
That's correct.
And he won the election in the Electoral College in 2024, right?
That is correct.
And you agree he lost the Electoral College in 2020, right?
That is correct.
And you agree that he's ineligible to be on the ballot as president in 2028, right?
So the short answer is that is correct. The 22nd Amendment of the Constitution does not allow him to run for a third term. That being said, if he could find 2/3 of the House and Senate to pass an amendment to the Constitution and then get that amendment ratified by 3/4 of the states, then yes, he could run. As it stands right now, the 22nd Amendment of the Constitution prohibits a president from running 2 terms.
And I know no historian or electoral person, legal person, but be pretty hard to change the Constitution that quickly. Do you agree?
I don't know. I can't answer that question because I'm not a historian, but again, the law is the law. Back to what I said in the initial interview, my job is to obey the law.
As the law is now, he is completely ineligible to be on the 2028 ballot as president.
Based on the 22nd Amendment to the United States Constitution, that is correct.
Okay. And let me ask you this. We have a great staff here in Nashville. They do an amazing job. Some of them have been here a long time. And I guess, what can you say to the staff here? And I would say that also really to the public as a whole, but specifically to the staff, to let them know that, you're not coming in with any agenda other than continuing our electoral work that we've done so well under Mr. Roberts here and others in the past.
The answer is no. I don't have an agenda except for to do the will of the people, which is to make sure that the vote is counted accurately. The process to vote is simple and straightforward, and to make. Here's the deal: as a financial advisor for 20 years, there was trust built between myself and my clients, and I realized that trust is built incrementally. And in time, I know this. I know a few of the folks on the staff. again, I served with the Davidson County Election Commission as an officer of election for 20 years. And so I got to interact with them. Now, it has been a few years since I've been engaged with them in a meaningful way. But prior to that, did life with every time there's an election. So I'm excited to learn more about them and on a personal basis, incrementally build trust with each of them to understand why they do what they do, how they do what they do, and to help them be the best version of themselves and to serve them and help. As I mentioned in my purpose in calling in life is to lead leaders. No way to do that than to help folks be a better version of themselves if that's what they want to do.
And then as my final question, and I could sit here all day, but I won't do that for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, my final question, part of what the job will be, for good or for bad, there are going to be some times when the state or others is, or the law hasn't been made clear and we are being asked to do things that we're going to, that people are going to disagree about, perhaps here in Nashville, about whether that's appropriate. I'm thinking of the new provision on the application ballot, that some pilot program, which we don't need to get in here to today, but there will be disagreement with the state officials potentially and some folks here. And you understand that part of the job is going to be making sure that we, dot the I's, cross the T's, and find out all the information, push back when we need to make sure we're not just doing something for some agenda. And to make sure we do things in a way that secures, everybody debates over constitutional democracy or whatever. We're making sure that it's a one person, one vote, people who are eligible get the right to vote. And if that means pushing back sometimes on the state, that we may have to do that. You get that, right?
The answer is having a meaningful conversation with people about why the law is the law. But at the end of the day, I'm going to obey the law, whatever the law states, because that's the job. However, sometimes there's moments where the law may not make sense, and to that point, I would want to understand it as all of us would if we're sitting down and we're in our commission meeting wondering why is it written this way or what's going on here. That's a great question, and we have a right to have a candid conversation with those folks who are writing the laws, which is the Tennessee General Assembly. So again, our job is not to change the laws. Our job is to abide by the laws and to execute the laws. Does that make sense?
When there's a quick follow-up, when there's a dispute over that, we have courts that then issue orders that we follow, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I'll pass them for anyone else.
Thank you, Commissioner Byrd. Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Richardson?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion.
Hold on just 1 second. I just want to make sure nobody else has any questions for him. Okay, thank you, though. I'll come back to you. Commissioner Davis.
Good afternoon, sirs. How are you?
Hey,
Good. Well, I'm going to bust you for a hot second because someone's got to give you the business since the other side wanted to give me a little jab out of love. But I do appreciate that you invoked the Constitution. So just for the record, you do know this is a constitutional republic. I believe the last time I checked, you will not find the word democracy in the Constitution. Are you aware of that?
correct.
All right.
We have represented democracy. As a political science major, if we had a true democracy, then people in mass would be showing up and to vote, and that'd be chaos. Therefore, that have represented democracy, and we live in the and we get our rules from the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the great state of Tennessee.
Well, I won't let you too hard on this busting since I do teach this 20 plus years. So you probably don't want to go down that road with me over that, but I just wanted to bust you for a hot second for kicks and giggles. But it is a constitutional republic. So, don't forget who you pledge your allegiance to, the republic for which it stands. But I'm done busting you on that. Let me ask you a serious question, though. Chairman, I'm not chairman, excuse me. We're all doing this again. So, but Commissioner Byrd makes a very valid point that I want to piggyback on and echo. The biggest thing the AOE has to do is literally make sure that we are all in compliance with election law, and also to be able to, work with a really good staff. I made that point abundantly clear last time. If you had to sum up your policy, or I won't say policy, if you could sum up in one word how you want to lead going forward if you were to be voted for, what would that be?
Sure. Well, it's 2 words, and it's how I live my life. It's called servant leadership.
Okay.
I'd be happy to explain it if you want.
Oh, no,
but-
I can, like I said, not to cut you off, but like I said, you and me are on the same page on that, because I'm sure you and I could have a great discussion about that some other time, and I'm not to cut you short, but I wanted to kept the brevity of it to keep the meeting moving. One other thing, what was your biggest learning point from the last interview to this one?
What did I learn by watching my video and watching the other videos of other?
So any good leader learns
from the experiences, especially if they're going to be a better leader. What
did you learn? What was your takeaway from the experience from last time to getting to here?
Sure. There's a lot of life lessons. One, obviously going through a change in careers from being in the financial world to potentially serving the city of Nashville and the citizens of Nashville as an AOE, that's a shift. And that's hard to do if it's not worth it, if there's not a value greater than what I'm giving up to make that shift. So that's been one thing I've processed through. As far as watching you guys with the question asking and the back and forth, I love you guys, and I appreciate this opportunity to do this. And I don't see myself as a partisan. I see myself more in the nonpartisan role. But I know you ingest, you guys about other sides, and we're on this side and they're on that, and jabs at each other. But I said to Kelly, as with my wife, as we were watching this, I'm like, you know what? It's crazy how you guys sit on one side and the other side. What if we sat like when I was back in kindergarten, boy, girl, or we mix it up where we don't see each other for our political hats. We actually see each other as people that are striving to do what's in their family's best interest and to serve each other. And so that would be my take is like, look, we as a team, we got to figure out what do we have in common? What are some mutual interests that we all share as we're striving together to do the best work for the citizens of Nashville? NAS has nothing to do with partisan politics. I know that's ironic because we're talking about politics, but it's not. It's process is what we're focusing on. And there should be zero involvement with politics. It should be just the process is the process, the law is the law, and we should take off our hats. So in a perfect world, like I said, we draw cards and we'd randomly sit in different seats. We get to know each other, we become friendly, and so that we realize that I don't see you as a member of this team or that team, because again, nobody wins in that situation. Does that make sense?
All right. I appreciate that answer. I think think the way you ended that was definitely much better for me. I can appreciate the process being the process, and that's something that the AOE's definitely going to have to be very good at. Thank you.
Any other questions?
One quick follow-up.
Sure, Commissioner Byrd.
Mr. Richardson, were you able to watch David Hamilton's interview?
I did.
Did he impress you as someone who was qualified and someone whose demeanor that you would want to model as far as when it comes to nonpartisanship and professionalism?
Yeah, I was impressed with David Hamilton, and I think the reason why I got a better read on him is because I could see his face, versus the other participants I could not. All I could hear was their voice, and so I did like his the way he addressed questions. That being said, I'm not David Hamilton. I'm John Richardson. I have a much more conversational nature. I'm not as straightforward and serious as he is. And just like Jeff Roberts is Jeff Roberts, he has his own style too. And so if you like the TV show and you like the style of conversational leadership, you're getting to know people's story, and people like to tell stories to engage folks, that is more my style versus a serious, more stoic appearance. So the answer to your question is yes, David Hamilton is qualified.
Thanks, John. And if you want to model yourself off Ted Lasso, that'd be great. I think everyone would love it. We all love it. And that I was mentioning Hamilton because I think as well as Jennifer, but she withdrew her name, but that is somebody who I think has done this a long time and would be the kind of demeanor that, I was looking for when I put forward his name. And so that's why I asked about that. And I would I look forward to you being a Ted Lasso here is a good analogy, I think, for what we could use.
Very good. Can't go wrong if you end up on Ted Lasso, so I guess, yeah. All right, so no further questions. Okay. Well, with that, Mr. Richardson, if you want a minute or two if you want to wrap up in any way, I'll turn the floor back over to you for a minute or two.
Again, I just want to first say thank you again for the opportunity to connect with you guys. As you can tell, I've shared my heart, I've shared my knowledge, and I've got 47 lines to share with this team if you guys so choose me to be your next administrative elections. I can be honest with you and tell you that I'm going to make mistakes. If you guys were to choose me, I will make mistakes along the way. But that being said, I'm going to own them, and you guys will know, because I believe that, you know what, we all make mistakes in life, and then we move. It's what you do with those mistakes, and you learn and you fail forward. And you're also going to find that I love candid conversations. I love heart level conversations. And sometimes people in politics like to protect and be protective and hide from the truth versus just being their authentic self. Because the core value of mine is I believe people crave authentic relationships. Oftentimes they just don't know how to get there. So one of my strong suits, and anybody I've done life with, they'll tell you firsthand, is connecting with people at a quick pace and quickly going from a head level to a heart level. And so whether it's a voter or members of the commission or the staff or anybody that comes through those doors that want to know about the process of voting in the great city of Nashville, my job is to be the face and represent them and serve them with kindness, serve them with integrity, and encourage them to participate in the electoral process to its fullest. So with that, I thank you for your time and look forward to hearing your results.
Very good. Thanks, sir. All right. Well, with that, Commissioner Dooley, did you seek recognition?
Yes, I did. Yes. And I would like to make a motion.
Proceed.
Okay. I move that we appoint Mr. John Richardson as the Administrator of Elections in Davidson County, Tennessee.
Very good. We've got a motion. Is there a second? He wants you to.
I'll second it.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Commissioner
Want some
Byrd.
discussion. So, you all know where I am in this process, and we've interviewed a lot of people, and I'm not going to recap everybody we've interviewed. I think I've been pretty clear about my thoughts of what happened in the process and where we were. I think that we kind of passed up some good opportunities with David Hamilton and with Jennifer Rasmussen-Sagan. I think that, that's unfortunate. But I think that, the folks that are left, I will say, Mr. Richardson, I was impressed that you immediately took a step to show some nonpartisanship and demonstrate that code of conduct that I was talking about when you resigned and then tried to, follow up to show that. And I do respect that, and I do appreciate that. And I want you to know that, I'm going to likely vote to kick this off right and to support you, given the stage we're at. That doesn't change where I came from originally with Mr. Hamilton and Ms. Rasmussen-Sagan, who I think would have been outstanding. And but it comes from a reality of where we are. And what I would encourage you to know is that that is a continuing process that Commissioner Davis, Janine Davis, that is, and myself, part of our job, especially in the minority, is to be the oversight. And we will be that. I think I've proven that. I think Commissioner Davis has also proven that. We will be that. That doesn't mean we're going to be looking over your shoulder to catch you or anything, but we want to help. We want to be here. We want to, you listen to us as well, because we also can help you with where some of the voters are coming from, or where some of the people are coming from who are trying to exercise this very valuable right. And so I urge you to be that kind of person. I love your Ted Lasso analogy, and I think that we can get to a lot of places if we work together. If you rely on your staff that's back here. One point that I'd like to make is, we have Administrator Roberts here, who's just been outstanding. He also came in and didn't have, as I understand it, not a ton of election knowledge. And so you're going to need to take this book here, and if you can see it, and it'll be updated pretty soon. And I'm sure you're going to have a lot of training and certification process that comes in. But I would urge you to rely on Administrator Roberts to the extent that we can steal some of his time. I think we should do it. I don't know if we need to do that here or not, if we need to put something on the agenda later, but I would personally make a motion, considering that we have someone who's somewhat new to this process, that we figure out a way to keep Administrator Roberts available in some way. There is precedent for that, as I understand it, and I don't want to make a longer meeting than we need to today, but I would like to bring a motion at the right time whereby he could be called on an hourly basis or some other basis over the next year to help you get through the midterms. Not because you can't do that, not because your staff can't do that, but I think that if you can, I think it's going to be hard to just watch Jeff here for a month and think that you really have things under your belt. And so we're going to look at that for you. We're going to find the best way that Metro, Nashville can, I'm sure they can fund and support that, and figure out a way to have you have someone you can call on for some advice, whether it be working with the staff or working with the state or working with other things. I think that'd be helpful to you. And if we can at least get through the midterms in 2026, I think that can make us feel better. That'd be my comment. That'd be something I think we should consider. I say that in public so everyone can hear it. And the chair, perhaps if we need to, the next time we meet, we've had a lot of meetings, we're gonna have a few more. Maybe we need to put it on the agenda and we can talk to Ms. Ecke about how to do that, because I'm not sure how HR does that. But I think that'd be valuable to you as you start this effort off. And, that'd be my comments. I'm gonna vote on you and put my faith in you and trust you and know that the Nashville community, that this is important to them. And they're counting on you. They are counting on you to give things a second look when they ask you to, and to make sure that, they're skeptical. There's a lot of people in Nashville skeptical right now after the gerrymandering and all that. And they're looking for faith and trust in their elections. And we need to help you do that. And we need to help the public have faith and trust in that, because we need to make sure that they have easy access to voting, as we've always done here, and we're going to continue that.
Thank you, Commissioner Byrd. And I agree with your thoughts relative to looking into the prospects of Mr. Roberts being on some sort of consulting contract. We'll get, if the vote goes as it appears it's going to go, let's get Mr. Richardson on the ground running and see how things play out, and see to what extent Mr. Roberts thinks that's a good idea going into retirement. But yeah, I think that's something that we will definitely have additional discussions on. All right. Any other comments? Well, just let me say that I'm going to vote in the affirmative. Hope that's not a surprise to anyone. But have been very much impressed, Mr. Richardson, by your candor, by your approach to things. So I'm excited, looking forward to what I think may be the future. So if there's no other, Commissioner Byrd.
I do think we should probably make, for the record, I don't know if we need to redact anything, but the additional submission you made to us, I want to make sure that that is made a part of the record as well, which was the resignation and the legislative recommendation in the letter he sent, I believe, on October 6th.
Okay.
I don't have a paper copy of that, but as I understand it, we can do that. We can get that to Kelly somehow, and she can make that a part of the record.
Okay, Mr. Roberts, we'll see that that happens. Yeah, very good. Thank you for that. All right, with that, I gathered from when we met last week, we need a roll call vote. Ms. Ecke, or no?
Oh, I mean, just a regular vote.
Okay, all right, very good.
By voice, so that it's clear who's speaking.
very good.
We have some who's voting no.
All right.
Or not voting.
Yeah, yeah. All right, then, all those in favor of the motion to select John Richardson as the Administrator of Elections for Davidson County Election Commission, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. And by my count, that's 4 in favor, 0 against, and 1 absent. So, very good. Well, congratulations, sir. We look forward to getting on board, and Mr. Roberts will be in touch with you very soon, and we'll just work out all the details that are involved with the position, and we'll go from there.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, good. All right. Well, with that, we'll go to the next item of business, a discussion of the scheduled meeting to certify the December 2nd, 2025 special election the special general election results. I understand there's some discussion to be had on that. I understand, Commissioner Byrd, you've had some thoughts?
Yep, sorry to steal the mic again here, but that's unfortunately, that's what it's like to be in the political minority in Davidson County Election Commission, I guess. So there's no motion I'm going to bring here, I don't believe, but as I understand that I can put something on the agenda to discuss. You're good, okay. I certainly am not real pleased with, that we moved this certification up on the December 2nd election so quickly. I had concerns about how quickly we could do that. And of course, reading the Nashville banner story and kind of seeing what's going on in the other counties, I'm certainly a little bit disturbed that it certainly appears that we're being sort of trying to hurry up a special election here to equalize whatever's going on in the United States Congress with the fact that the Speaker of the House is not seating the Arizona member. I know that none of you all have said that or are doing that. I don't know what the instructions were from the state election commission, but it is, from what I'm read anyway, very unusual for us to do a certification that quickly. And I don't like the thought of us being used in that way, to try to somehow, I understand we all want to get someone to Congress to be represented as soon as we can. And we all want to do that, but we need to do it the right way. And we need to make sure that just because someone is, from the state is saying that we have to do it so quickly, that we, Nashville, who very often has a lot more votes to count, a lot more precincts, a lot more boxes, that we're not putting ourselves in a difficult position for any sort of political purpose like that. I have no motion because it would fail anyway, but I wanted to say that, and I want to make sure that we listen to our own experts here about how long it takes to count the votes and do that. Now, it could be that we can just barely get it done, but that's not what we've typically done before. And so I hope that you all have read the Nashville banner story. You should. I don't think that there's any definitive folks in there telling us exactly what's going on, but it certainly doesn't seem like that every county was told the same thing from reading that story, but according to Mr. Goins, apparently they were. So I want us to make sure that we take the time we need for certification. So I want to clarify with Commissioner Roberts that December 5th is actually going to work. And as I understand it, it's like the fastest we've ever done such an election.
Mr. Roberts.
Initially, when the state asked us about certifying on the 5th, we received an email. I didn't check it, but I assume they sent the email to all the other counties because it came in the form of a survey that you would answer as to whether or not that was doable. Our first concern was whether or not we would have enough time to process the number of provisional ballots that we typically see in an election. In the November election, the number of provisionals, it was in the thousands. And seeing how many we received for this election, just being 39, that gave us a great deal of confidence that we can turn the information around very quickly. So I think we're in a good spot at this point in time to make the December the 5th without a big hurdle.
Okay, well, if something goes wrong, what is the process, I guess, is my question. If all of a sudden we get to December 4th and there's an issue, and we've had a flood of people come out or floods of some sort of issues where we've had to do emergency ballots or something else, you know. We had a tornado in East Nashville one time when we voted several years ago. There has to be a process for us to make sure that we do it right.
Under circumstances like that, I think the first thing we would do is call the state and say, we have some doubt that we would be able to turn it around because of these specific circumstances. And I'm sure they would provide whatever resources we thought we would need to make it happen on the 5th, but should that not happen, I think they would understand that, you know, tornadoes are things that you cannot predict. And if you had a tornado, I don't know if, you know, it would be 6 days, 10 days, how long it might take, just depending on how bad the situation was.
Okay. Well, I think it's worth discussing. I urge you all to read the story. It didn't make me feel great about the motivations behind moving it, although I know none of you all were the ones who initiated the moving.
Well, Commissioner Byrd, I appreciate your thoughts and I respect where you're coming from. Just for what it's worth, I mean, in terms of the reason for it, you know, my whole thing is what you've touched on. Can we do this in a timely fashion? Yes, it is quicker than I can imagine. It's been done before. But as Mr. Roberts indicated, the coordinator's office has assured us they'd provide us with the assistance we need to process the provisional ballots, which is potentially the big hang-up. I just will have to say that I've never known, well, let me just say it this way. I have great confidence in what the coordinator's office tells us and their integrity. And now, whether there's some big political thing going on behind the green curtain or whatever, I don't know. But I do believe that it's true that this is unique. Yeah, it's quicker than usual, but usually we don't have an empty seat that is need to be filled, that can be filled, will be filled immediately upon certification of the elections. This is what it is, a special election, a special circumstance. And relative to the issue of if something blows up and we can't do this on September 5th or December 5th with confidence in what we've got, then I'll be the first to call the coordinator's office and say, hey, yeah, I don't think it can happen. Help us figure this out. So I hear what you're saying. I appreciate where you're coming from. I appreciate your heart. But I'm confident from what I'm hearing from Commissioner Roberts, Administrator Roberts, that we can do it. And I think therefore we should do it so that those people in the 7th District can have representative in Congress.
And I hope, because I believe everyone on the other side there said that the goal was that, you know, we did not want to in any way impede getting someone up there so that they could be represented in the 7th District. And I hope if the Democratic candidate prevails in that election, that we all stay consistent with that mindset and that concept, and that we would support the same idea of getting a person up there as quick as possible, and that we would reject and object to anyone in the United States Congress trying to slow that down.
Yes, sir. Agreed. All right. Any other comments on this agenda item? All right. Well, with that, before I take a motion to adjourn, we will meet again. Oh, not, well, the meeting we're discussing to do the certification will be on December the 5th at 1:30 in this room. Mr. Roberts will be here,
Be here, right?
yeah, and
Is-
Sonny West Building.
We don't have another meeting before then, is that right? Just to make sure.
We tentatively have one scheduled for this Wednesday, but based on the actions that you took appointing Mr. Richardson, I think we can probably cancel that meeting.
Okay, yeah, I thought we had called one then, but, so there's no need for that meeting. I don't know if we need to make a motion for that or what we do, but we still are meeting on the 15th for the key, Commissioner Dooley and I are still going to the commission to lock the provisional ballot bags or observe them.
Correct.
With that, seeing no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Commissioner Byrd, is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we stand adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.
That's okay. You were busy.